Love is all around us. Our families, our friends, and in our case, our fans. But sometimes we get sidetracked and we find ourselves not focusing on that and focusing on a lot of negatives. I grew up in a very loving family. My, my parents, my mom and dad, made sure my three siblings and I had what we needed to get through life. And education was a pillar in our home. For my parents, it was paramount and important that we got all the education that we needed and ended up in university and eventually pursue our dreams and goals. My Christian conservative parents were very particular about our beliefs, and they were very particular on how they impart their beliefs on us. We used to have prayer sessions every single day. And woe unto you if you do not feel like you do not want to pray or you come home late. The task was either you have your day you're giving a sermon or you have the day you're leading the worship. But I miss such simpler times. At that time, of course, it was sometimes very stressful, and especially as a teenager at some point, I used to wonder why. Are the prayers really being answered? We are yet to find out. Of course, it was never lost to me how strict my folks were. They still impart the fear on God in me, as much as I may be 33 years old. But I always ask myself, why can't they just be, more, just loose a bit, give me some money to go out, maybe hang out with my friends. They always protected us against this boogeyman. And of course, that bred a lot of conflict, especially as we entered our teenage phase. But do not get me wrong. We grew up in a very, very, very loving home. Growing up, I considered myself a very awkward child. But maybe I'm being too hard on myself, so I will try and explain myself here. I used to find it so laborious to make friends. It was an activity that I honestly thought to myself I could do without. And maybe then I was wary of small talk like I am now. Small talk is really not my thing at all. Of course, I remember the occasional game of police and robbers, Brikicho, Banture. But honestly, outside of that, I just used to lean against the wall of our then one bedroom house, and just stare at the multitude of children playing. And I'm just like, I don't need that. I don't know for what reason. I don't know. My primary schooling was interesting. My primary schooling was a hop, skip, and jump. So it's different, 4 different schools. And sometimes I ask whether that had a lot to do with the person that I am today, or is it my star sign? I don't know. One of the two. We're yet to figure that out. So you can imagine going through 4 schools and keeping track of different friends. The rate of retention of friends was really, really low. But when you think from the description that I've just given, of course I was not going through these schools because I was a truant or I was a naughty child. It's just that at the time, I think, for my parents, the education system was just not up to par. And yes, I might be casting a doubt on the education system, but we must agree, it was even screaming for help then. So I tasted position 1 once in standard 1. And that was an amazing day. Of course, I remember because that was the only time it happened. So you can imagine this boy going through these 4 different schools, and rate of friend retention is really low. Eventually goes to Kakamega High School, 400 kilometers away from the capital city, Nairobi, where I was born and bred. And for some reason, I was very, very excited about it because, yes, I'm leaving the house. No more daily prayers, yay. My stint in Kakamega High School, all of 2 years, was interesting. I had my short stint in drama. I had my stint in, a longer stint in music. But then, of course, the ramblings of a teenage boy who just did not feel like they belonged. Because, of course, by the time first term of Form 1 was done, I was ready to call it quits. I was like, I need to go. So it took a whole 2 years for me to convince my folks that I need to leave, I need to go. So, you know what? That rambling led to my eventual transfer to Upper Hill School. And from Upper Hill School now, thank God for that, I have a roaring career because of the boys, because of my brothers that I met in Upper Hill School, who I love to bits. But then still, high school, I was a very subdued child. Kept to myself still, was clean. And I guess looking back, my focus was, I just need to work and so that I can get grades for university. To study what? I had no clue. I just needed to end up in university. Fast forward to university, still, that did not. I was just like, I thought this was it, the promised land. Yay, university. I will be comfortable with my decisions. I am who I am. I'll say once I felt fulfillment coming to me when our careers started picking. And that was during my university period. And of course, if it wasn't for my best friend, who is still my best friend, met her in uni, I don't think I'd have done those assignments. So, Anyiko, thank you very much. I love you to bits. Man, I stumbled on my singing. I quite don't remember how, but I just realized at some point that I could make a joyful noise, and so, yay, I could sing. I remember, I remember this one time, I think it was during, after a church service, and my mom and my cousin were walking, and I was like, this is my chance. Chimano to the world, my first audience of 2, my mom and my cousin. So I sang, I don't remember how it sounded. In my head, I thought it sounded good. Of course, my cousin looked at me and was just like, oh, kind of like, oh, cute. You can sing. Fast forward to Michael Jackson, Thriller, fascinating. I remember I watched it and I was like, is this a horror movie song? What's going on? But still, amazing. So me dancing around the house and reenacting the Thriller moves, reenacting them, and I'm just like, I'm telling my cousin like, yay, I'm going to be a superstar. And to this day, my cousin tells me that, yeah, maybe she shouldn't have laughed. But, but it's all in jest. We still make fun. We still make fun of that. And I love her, and she's my #1 supporter right now. I'm still holding on to this drawing book that I had of model houses that I was drawing when I thought I had the architecture gene in me. I guess not, because the only thing I draw in my head are my clothes. What am I going to put on tomorrow? What am I going to wear on stage? Oh my God, closet space. It's just, like when I think about it, it's someone that I did not foresee me turning into. But in hindsight, remembering me helping my mom pick her clothes out, whether it's for work or especially for church. And sometimes I've noticed there's some clothes that she hasn't worn for a while. I don't know, maybe she thought that she's not young anymore, so she can't wear them. And then, of course, with a little nudge and prod here and there, she wore some of them. And yeah, I think I did well. I slapped. I really, really slapped when I think about it. As for my dad, for some reason, never let me go through his clothes. He was just like, what are you... It was just... those eyes that you receive, and you're just like, okay, I get it. But now that I think about it, because of our album Midnight Train, and the theme that the album carries is literally from his era. So yeah, Dad, I'm a mature man now, so you can't tell me no. I am coming for those clothes. Being on stage is such an amazing feeling when I'm dressed up in my rarely subtle attire and singing and being there. It's like a different sort of energy. And I love it. It just brings me some sort of fulfillment. And as well, with my fashion, for me, it's about challenging toxic masculinity, which does happen quite a bit. I love it. I love it. And I love looking good. And also, who are you to tell a human being this is what it means to be a model citizen? This is the book. Follow it. Read the table of contents, so do not make a mistake. I'm sure many more people feel this way. But I'll also add that, yes, as an introvert, sometimes thinking about it, it's not really about being awkward. It's just me being by myself gives me as well time to breathe, time to think, time to create, and maybe also just to retain your energy, because if someone like me it is a lot of work to it's like I'm giving you my arm, just take it all. By the time I get home, I'm so tired. So that's the time, recharging, yeah. So as I said, I'm sure most people out there feel the same. Feel like they're not part of what is designed or what you're told you need to be to become an upstanding member of society. I'm proud of the man that I'm becoming. A man who listens, a man who strives to understand the world around him in most cases, a man who cherishes and loves to be there for his loved ones who have played a tremendous role in his life. A man who focuses on that love and builds on it. I have no regrets whatsoever. I appreciate the life that I had and the upbringing that I had. I totally appreciate that. I love being in my own thoughts. Because for me, in my world, my thoughts become things. My thoughts, my positivity has created my eventuality. I must say, yes, it has not been easy, but also I must admit that I have had it easier than most. I have forged lifelong relationships that I will cherish forever. And I have a brotherhood that keeps me in check and that we can go through this life journey together. I love you, Bien, love you, Savara, love you, Polycarp. Y'all are my rock, and y'all are amazing. You know what? Being yourself is the truest form of expression. You being happy. Because, with that, and I understand sometimes it takes some time. It takes some time, or the conditions are not favorable, but when you acknowledge you need vulnerability, then you're on the way to being yourself. And who knows? That could change. It could change one person at a time, change perception, and perhaps change culture. Thank you.